is Get Valiant.
All right, all you cool cat and kittens. Once again, it's Get Valiant number 176. How is life? Because it's a big 176, Josh.
Oh, man. The big 176. Crazy. I don't know. I'm good. How's everybody doing, man? We're all good?
I miss your guys' faces. It's like we don't see each other all that much anymore. And
Yeah,
like,
it's been a while.
I know.
Yeah.
They fix their stupid publishing schedule and start working again. Like, we can get back to doing this more often.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems so simple. Just put out more comics. Come on, guys.
Hey, everybody
Yeah.
else is doing it. Just be like everybody else.
right? I mean, yeah. Just do it. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like MJ said, just do it, man.
You know, I think right now is a good time to have it. Did you see that they're putting out the the Valiant Masters on digital?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so excited for like 5 seconds. And then I was like, oh, it's digital. Like, who gives a shit?
But you used to have all the omnibuses though, right?
I used to have one, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm one of those guys who's been bitching and moaning for many years about why Valiant doesn't do more with publishing their older material. You know, it seems like they've got a whole collection of stuff that they can be throwing out there.
Right.
So when I saw those at first, I was like, oh man, they're doing trade paperbacks of a year of these books. Like, that's great, man. Even if those are books that have already been put out because they have the omnibus, I was like, but it doesn't matter. That's great. Nope, digital. Right. I have everything.
Right.
So it doesn't matter, but at the same time, it's like, there's people out there who would buy this stuff. I would love to just have the trades than have a bunch of books in my boxes. So,
yeah, it's interesting because not too long ago they did the Valiant, the full Master Collection, right? The USB thumb drive that has everything as far as Masters, and then they have that as far as the current run too. So on VEI run, so. Yeah, it was kind of like, ooh, there's more than one thing coming out, and it was kind of out of nowhere. It seemed like it was pretty unannounced. So,
yeah. But, I mean, as much as I knock it, like if there's people out there who like digital, go for it. Those books are great. Like, if you buy those digital collections, I think people would really enjoy them, especially, like, Archer and Armstrong is very, like, underrated, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So Eric,
Eric should get them all digital, man. Get in there and get that Bloodshot original run.
Yeah.
He's got the original Bloodshot.
I have like a lot of the old stuff. It's just a matter of
there's no comics coming out now. You have all the time in the world, buddy.
I got too much Transformers to play, man.
Oh.
Transformers?
Yeah.
Like the toys?
No, it's a trading card. Well, yes, like the toys, but there's a trading card game called Transformers, the trading card game, and it rules, and I play it all the time, and that is my life now.
Is it like a digital card thing or like regular card, like live cards, like cards in your hand?
No, it's like cards.
Okay. That's pretty sweet.
That's cool. And the other big news of the week was the new Faith Midriff shirts that are coming out.
Which we know Hooser's going to be rocking.
The sad thing is that you would like to think.
I'm not going to knock it. I didn't look at any of the Faith stuff, but I meant to. When I saw that they had partnered with somebody for like some apparel, and I looked at the Bloodshot stuff, and I got down to, I think, like the second item or the third item. It was like the Bloodshot shirt with the logo and the blood spray. And
I didn't see that one.
And then my kid was doing something, and I was done looking at it. So I was like, oh, shit. I meant to look at it before we came on. But, yeah, there's one that's like a Bloodshot, the logo, and then at the very bottom of the shirt, there's a blood spray coming up.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Like your dick got shot.
Oh, that's not cool.
Which will happen from time to time.
I mean,
the keychain looks really cool. I thought the Bloodshot keychain looked awesome.
Yeah, and Scott for posting that on the Get Valiant page. I think it looks awesome.
Yeah, I did dig that, so that was pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the keychain looked pretty cool. And then some New York Comic-Con news came out recently.
Oh, I did not pay too much attention to that.
It's really hard when it's all digital and like, online. Like, it's hard to when the cons are really going and they're really happening, the news drops and it's huge, right?
Right.
When it's all online, it's really hard to make a Comic-Con announcement more than just another digital comic announcement, which happens all the time, and it's hard to put the weight behind it, you know?
Oh,
absolutely.
Completely.
Yeah, it's hard to put it. I think the big thing that their reveal was having the creative team of the Harbinger announced. So,
okay, so my understanding of the Harbinger is that this is going to be Peter with a new crew around him, which I'm not sure how I feel about.
It seems like it's definitely a Pete-centric book, and
right.
I mean, it has to be. I think if you're going to even tackle that, anything with Harbinger, you have to go heavy on Pete. And honestly, I'm actually not against there being a little bit of a new crew, just because I look at what they've done with the characters in the last 3 or 4 years. They haven't done very much. When Rayford's run happened, I feel like Valiant as a whole kind of dropped the ball on it. Not just from the written side, but just everyone. I mean, it just doesn't. That whole 8-issue run into 0 issue, they don't make a whole lot of sense. So if this is a way of kind of giving Pete a new status quo to start from, I'm kind of okay with it as long as they don't change any of the history of the character. If they want to just write everybody, if they want to change everything off screen, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right.
Just explain it later. Explain it eventually. But I'm okay with it. We'll just see what it starts like.
Yeah, there's so much story to be told within Valiant. I mean, even what 4001 tells us with Axe being heavy prevalent and around in that time with just his head kind of leading groups and everything. So I think there's a lot to be told around all of the Harbinger group. I just feel like where it left, there was a lot to be desired, closure to be had. New villains announced in that issue, in those last set of 8. There was nothing about them in the Harbinger Wars. Harbinger Wars 2 had, basically they wanted to have their X-Men plan there. And then just knowing where it goes with Book of Death, if that's planning on where they're continuing to go with that or not. It's a definitely new approach, and it's got a lot different look than necessarily what we're used to seeing with this. I was going to say Rob Rodriguez. It's definitely not Rob Rodriguez. It's Robbie Rodriguez. So not too far off of his art.
He's the guy who created Spider-Gwen.
Oh, he's one of the co-creators of that?
I think so.
Okay.
And I only throw that out there. I think that I don't know a ton about the character outside of Into the Spider-Verse, other than that costume is such brilliant character design. I think that the look is so perfect, and I hope that and I'm saying that because I hope that Harbinger, obviously the Harbinger, I hope it introduces a lot of new characters, and I just hope we get some of that kind of cool character design. Just something that's not just a 2-color jacket with a bird circling the world. Let's get some banging shit out there.
Yeah, I think it was my worry is when they were sending all the promotion art out, it was spray painted walls, and then we see the logo, the new Harbinger logo, where it has the line spray painted across, and then his jacket spray painted across. And I know there's the gas canisters, but it's is he a new spray painter? Is he graffiti artist now? What the heck's he doing? So it's definitely a different approach. And then he's in his new gear. I think I just loved that yellow hoodie from the original run, or the 2012 run. That just I think it was Doug Braithwaite art on there, was just phenomenal. So I don't know. It's a different approach, and interested to see where it's at. And then that promotional art basically looks like that would be Chris Hathaway with the hair. So, but it's supposedly Pete.
I just want it to be connected to the wider Valiant universe and move the character forward. If we get those two things, but it's completely different in every other way, I'm still gonna be fine with it. That's the big thing for me personally. Those are the two big things for me. I just want, Bloodshot has done a good job of feeling connected and bringing in new characters while also feeling like the wider Valiant universe does exist and it is connected. So I'm just hoping that the Harbinger does the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think for me, like, I just hope that, like, we as fans, I mean, as much as we've all liked Josh Dysart's work, I hope we can kind of just move past it, and just be like, okay, what's the next thing that you're going to give me with these characters, because I'm not expecting every single person for the history of the rest of the time to copy Josh's work and just be Josh. I'm hoping someone else gets the chance to put their own spin on things, and that's good, I mean, like, I thought the first issue of Renegades was a great first issue, and then from there it went downhill. But I'm really hoping that whatever they do in the future with this, it's just something that we can all kind of get behind, at least give it like an honest chance.
Oh, I mean, absolutely with you. I mean, kind of in that same question on that same piece, and this is for those in the chat too that are interested in this. How do you feel writers approached X-Men? That they wanted to compete with what Chris Claremont did, or were they trying to do their own thing?
It's a good question.
Well,
right.
X-Men to really.
I hope that anybody in there I think you can't try to be Claremont.
No.
But what you do is you just try to build off of it. Like you're okay. I'm Scott Lobdell, and I'm just going to try and not be Chris Claremont, but I have to tell the story. I have to move the story forward. I have to put these characters that went from A to B. I have to take them to C. I think everybody has to acknowledge what happened, but you can't try to be Claremont.
Right.
And the good thing about that is if everybody sat there and was like, oh man, no one's ever going to be better than Chris Claremont, then you'd never get John
Grant.
You'd never get Morrison. You never get Joss Whedon. You don't get a whole bunch of things that are equally good.
Rick Morander, Uncanny. Yep, all of it. Yep.
Yeah, there's a ton of great X-Men stuff if you get past Claremont. And I mean, look, I'm a old school fan. I like a lot of Claremont stuff. And so I'm a bit of a loyalist in that regard. But there's tons of good stuff. I just know that we're dealing with characters who've had like a couple years worth of appearances. And so I feel like when you don't have, like, say, 20 years of books that have been out, you don't have a couple hundred issues of Harbinger.
Right.
It's hard to be like, oh, man, like, we don't know when we're going to get that next run. So you want it to be good. You want there to be a lot of quality behind it, because if the book sucks, it's going to be trashed after a year. And then you're just like, well, shit, when are they going to do something again with them? We've gone a long time without seeing these kids. So I hope it's good. But, I mean, my whole point is just that, like, you know what? I mean, I hope these dudes, they do their own thing, and they're not just trying to, copy the blueprint that happened before. Make your own blueprint.
I mean, and that's kind of my point of asking that question, right? Because you basically get the X-Men with Claremont, then you got the new X-Men with Grant Morrison, then you get Wolverine and the X-Men with Jason Aaron, the New Mutants, you get, Uncanny X-Men with Marinder, Uncanny with Kieran Gillen. I mean, Brian Michael Bendis with the all-new X-Men. So it was like the X-Men core, the X-Men idea, and then it kind of changed the team up here and there, right? And I know we don't like comparing our comics, you know what I mean? But, truth be told, X-Men and Harbinger are the closest to alike, and it changed quite a bit when you look at that. So I just see that as a kind of as a parallel and something to kind of hopefully want to base your comics off of, what you want the Harbingers to be. I mean, you would love to, be completely compared to the X-Men as far as success in the comic industry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and hopefully I think the main thing too is we want success. We want these things to last more than 12 issues. I want to hear writers be like, yeah, we have this plan for more than 2 years, and actually be able to do that.
Right.
Because, I mean, I know, like, you and I, we had conversations with Seeley back in the day at Emerald City when his Bloodshot was just getting announced. And, it seemed like he had a lot of plans for that book. We're only going to get a year out of it, And I don't know how much of that is to blame with the pandemic, because he may have just had a bunch of other stuff that he really wanted to get to. He was going to try and fit this in. I don't know.
Right. Well, soon after that, he became the editor-in-chief of Heavy Metal. So
yeah. But he's also got books all over the place. He's a really busy guy, and And I maybe never realized how busy he really was. Because as I've been reading Bloodshot, I've been trying to look back at some of his other work. He's been everywhere doing a lot of work. Like, he's a busy dude. Even before he started working metal.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think at the surface it was just a couple things like Nightwing, right? And and then maybe hack slash stuff, and then revival, But he's got quite a bit of other things happening, so I think it's pretty cool. So
yeah.
And I don't know much about these writers, Colin Kelly and Jack Lansing. They're credited with Star Trek Year 5 and Green Arrow. So they've been a writing team before. And they sounded pretty positive. It sounded like they're still going to respect what's happened before and try to do this Redemption Pete story, which, like Eric said, let's move the story forward and hopefully get some of the bigger Valiant world involved.
Yeah, and I think I want a new direction, right? Like, I mean, we've kind of been talking about, as much as we all love what Josh Dysart did with the characters, we don't necessarily want to just have Josh Dysart Redux, right? So, yeah, I'm really hoping that we get a nice new direction, something interesting, and, new voices in the Valiant universe is always a good thing, and I look forward to seeing what they have to offer. I'm not going to judge this before we get it. The art looks like it's going to be really dynamic and vibrant, and that's really cool. And hopefully, the message that we've been getting is that this is going to kind of be an exploration of Pete's potential, and I think that there's a lot of possibility there. That's a lot to play with, and Pete has. I mean, he's arguably the most powerful person in the Valiant universe. So seeing him, grow as a character is definitely an intriguing concept and something I'm going to be excited to read.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with it. I mean, it's really hard to know a lot of times from these like early interviews where the writers can't really say much and, those kinds of things. Like, it's really hard to know what to expect. Like, when we talked to Alejandro before Dr. Tomorrow came out, we had even read the first issue, and it still was really hard to know what to expect from that book. And it ended up being, in my personal opinion, probably one of the top 5 story arcs that Valiant has published since 2012. So, I mean, we had no idea that that's what we were going to get, and we had that early access that a lot of other people didn't have. So if even having that early access and the ability to talk to the writer and get that inside look and read the issue early, if even that didn't tell us what the book was going to end up being, I don't think there's anything we are going to be able to glean from these interviews and, other than hype. And hype is great. And, I want people to be hyped up for this book. I hope that new readers are interested in checking it out that have followed these writers before. And I'm really hoping that, current Valiant fans can find something that they enjoy in this book.
But with that being said, we would definitely happily take the books early if Jasmine is listening.
I totally agree, because I feel like so many times early interviews are just like, we can't give a lot away, but this book's gonna be awesome. And you're just like, fucking tell us something though, man.
We've never heard that before when a book's launching.
Yeah, haven't heard that ever, except every time. But I mean, and plus it's hard now too because that book's probably not gonna come out for a long time.
Yeah, summer 2021. So
yeah,
if there's not another COVID shutdown.
Man, we're still waiting for so many books that we were hyped up about, and I just hope that this isn't going to be like a bad thing where it's like, yeah, we want you to be hyped up, and then it's like, when's this come out again? Like 9 months? I hope I remember.
Right, because that's what happened last year with EXO, right? Remember, EXO was supposed to be like October, and then Rai kind of went ahead of that. So that's what happened, and so it's like, you don't want to be doing that to the fans on those mistakes, because we do get our expectations built up. We get pumped up, and it can kind of spoil the fun sometimes. But we understand life happens. Can't control pandemic, but
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, if only we could, right?
Man. only somebody with power could have stepped up and fucking done something.
That wasn't me. I swear. I think you were talking about something, and the power that can be used was being used there.
Oh man!
So what you're saying is that you really want to talk about politics right now?
With great power comes a bad haircut.
Of course not.
Are you talking smack on my haircut?
No, mine.
Or lack of haircut, rather?
Yep.
Who's?
Well, so any other news for you guys?
That Bloodshot keychain looks cool.
What was that? Yeah, I heard you say Bloodshot, Eric. Heard you say Bloodshot, so I just wanted
You suck.
to. The Bloodshot keychain does look awesome.
The merch looks cool. And I'm stoked about The Harbinger. I think that's going to be a cool book. I really think there's a lot of potential there. So, other than that, I don't know
I need a
too
puzzle.
much.
I saw those.
What was that, Josh?
I said I saw the puzzles and they look awesome. And
Oh, they do.
I want
Yeah.
both. Really.
The puzzles do look awesome. And I know that there are definitely people out there who enjoy putting together puzzles.
No,
so
that's cool. But isn't that some of the art from 2012 still?
I like puzzles.
You just some of that dynamic art that's still from 2012.
that's fine. It doesn't bother me.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the same thing with those new shirts that they have out that they just showed the new apparel.
Yeah.
It's David Aja's artwork.
Yeah.
First issue of Bloodshot. It's old Luis Rosa. Like God, I mean, I know like those shirts, those are great. But you've been putting out new shit. It's 2020. Like you don't have to go back to the well in the same image. There's been covers that look great. Since then, even this year we've had great art. Use it.
It's just we would love some more Rafael Grandpa though. So just saying.
Speak for yourself. I'm cool with what we've got.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man. That old Cano art, that's like the centerpiece is like Bloodshot, and there's all the characters of the Valiant universe. That would have made a hell of a puzzle, man.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, I think they picked good images for the puzzles, though.
No, they're definitely good images. I'm just saying,
No, they
what I mean? We've had a lot in between, and we're still going from the well. It's not a bad thing, though.
But
I'm
in
just
5 years, we're
acknowledging
making the merchant the same images. It's going to be God, really another one of that.
that's kind of my point there. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not bad art by any means, and I'm fine with it. I think it looks great, but I'm just hoping that we get some more iconic images in the next few years that we could go to that well.
Yeah, I mean, if they put out more puzzles, hopefully they pull from some more recent stuff. I mean, that'd be fine. I just don't think there's any. All I'm saying, and I'm not necessarily saying that we're disagreeing, I'm just saying I don't think that there's anything wrong with the images that they chose. That's all.
Yep.
But
I don't know. Maybe I'm just early. I don't know.
So Bloodshot, right? Huh?
I think I pushed the button at the right time this time, Eric.
I saw it coming. Yeah, Bloodshot. What is this, number 9? It's number 9, right? Our review copy didn't come with the cover, so it's really hard. The big 9. So I remember when this arc began, we were talking about how it seemed like, or maybe not right at the beginning of the arc, the second issue of the arc. So last issue, it seemed like it kind of jumped in continuity from the monsters getting released to Bloodshot suddenly working with Black Box or Black Bar rather. Black Box is a movie, which people should watch, by the way. To him suddenly working with Black Bar, and it felt like there was a jump there that didn't really get explained. And luckily, this issue explained it. So if you just read the story as a whole thing, it all kind of comes together and makes sense. I thought that this issue did feel a little bit rushed, and you could tell that there were multiple artists doing the interiors on this book, but the art was solid all the way through. It's not like some of the pages were shit or anything like that. It was solid straight through. And like I said, it did feel a little bit rushed, but other than that, I thought this was a solid book.
I agree with that statement. Yeah.
Great. I'm right.
I couldn't hear anything you said. My audio dropped completely.
Oh,
No,
that's all. Well,
Can you repeat?
I do agree, because it was kind of jarring, the last issue of where the heck, how did we get here? Did we miss something completely? And it does give us this kind of answer. It was very told upon, and it was very weird to get to see it even at the beginning of this issue. It wasn't until you get 3/4 into this way that you hear that, Bloodshot manifested in multiple locations, multiple bodies type of thing, using a body. And yeah, it was a weird jump, but it made sense after explained.
Yeah, when I first read that in the book, me and Hooser had a conversation about this prior to the episode, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, I mean, it's a cool issue, but I don't understand. And, and then he was like, well, it explains it right here. And I was like, okay, I'm stupid and I didn't read it, I guess. But, one thing I want to say about this is there's two thoughts of mine I have with that. One, it's a cool use of his powers. And I like the fact that Tim Seeley has kind of done a lot of different things to kind of showcase what Bloodshot is capable of. Popping up in different bodies in different locations feels a little overpowered to me. I know he got some help doing it, but I was just like, fuck, man, this dude could do anything, and with what his body is and the way he works, he pretty much could do almost anything, Dude could grow wings like a demon, and
damn right you can.
We've seen that happen too. But
and it was badass.
It's one of those things where at first I was like, this is a little bit OP. But at the same time, though, I do like the fact that we're seeing different things done with Bloodshot. It's just not him being a bullet shield and just eating a bunch of damage and then getting his ass kicked until he kills someone later. And I like seeing these different things going on with the character. It keeps things fresh. So even though it was kind of wow, he could do that now. At the same time, I was like, well, it's keeping things a little fresh. It's something different,
Yeah, and it was definitely interesting seeing. I mean, I guess there was a little bit of resolve of Black Bar and the Burned here to kind of move the story forward. Interesting monsters in the beginning being destroyed. The one I had question was that character Thomas, who's trying to work with General Grail. He had some cool wings and some cool powers, and he looked pretty damn cool, but you didn't get a whole lot of him either in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people died at the beginning of this issue.
I think a bunch of giant monsters just show up on your set and you start killing everything,
Yeah, I did think it was weird though that they had that Thomas guy and his colors and whatnot matched Edelon's pretty closely, so you had to look closer each time to make sure it wasn't one or the same. So I think that the colors of that was pretty interesting as far as character design with these two kind of mashing up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they're soldiers of the Black Bar, so they all kind of look alike, right? They all have pretty similar uniforms.
Then I would say, as far as art's concerned, it was pretty good, but I felt like it was very laid out, pretty bland. Very straight bars, you know what I mean? Very blocky. There's nothing wrong with that, but when you're seeing a lot of others that have some pretty crazy panel layouts and whatnot, so it did seem like it was just kind of, to a degree, a little rushed. It felt like a little bit.
I get what you're saying, but that wasn't something that jumped out at me when I was reading, I guess. I thinking about it now and you mentioning that, I get where you're coming from, but I didn't feel that way while I was reading it. Yeah. While I was reading it, it felt like it flowed naturally, and it felt like the pages were set up correctly.
Yeah.
There wasn't a point where I was like, oh, this layout doesn't make any sense, or this is not serving the artwork. I felt like it came together pretty well.
It may be unfair because right now I'm back reading 4001 with Clayton Crane, And then this book came in, I read this issue, then I went back to reading some more of that. So it might be just because of what it was set up next to, right? Reading that and then jumping over to this. But
yeah.
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 Say though about this art wise, I really like Mark Laming's rendition of Bloodshot. I thought his art was pretty good on this book. And I wish this whole arc would have just had him on it. I know the last issue, I can't remember who the artist was on the issue before, but that's not my only artistic takeaway from this though, is that I like his art. I just wish he would have done every issue of it, because I know we have like one issue in the middle where he's not on it. But I thought it was good. It was a good looking book.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the art for this whole book, this whole run so far, has been pretty solid. Brett Booth's art was amazing. I really like you said, Josh, I like how Mark Laming is drawing Bloodshot. But yeah, I think that the new characters that we've gotten have been so well fleshed out, they don't feel like new characters to me anymore. You know, I mean, I know part of that is that with the pandemic happening, this story has been going on for a pretty long time now, but I don't feel like these Black Bar and the Burned and all these things, they don't feel like they were just created and added to the Bloodshot mythos. They feel like they've been around forever. Oh, and then speaking of these organizations that are in the Bloodshot mythos, we have to talk about the end of this book.
Absolutely.
When Project Rising Spirit is back.
I'm going to spoil you again. Okay.
Spoiler time. Yeah. Project Rising Spirit being back, that is just like, who knows what that means, how that's going to play out. You know, we already know that we're getting Wiggins and KT coming up in the next arc, which is going to be cool in and of itself. But having PRS be back, I think that's really cool. I think the idea that Bloodshot's going to get a chance to kind of go back to its roots and maybe set some things right. Yeah, that's a really cool concept.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see where this goes with that. You know, PRS is just such a huge part of the whole Bloodshot mythos. The fact that we're now getting characters from the movie put in here, I think it's all cool. You know, I'm actually really optimistic to this. I feel like in the past, and this would not pertain to Valiant necessarily, but in the past I have always hated when they've made things change based on movies, because a lot of times I just like the comic book version more of anything than the movie version. So when a movie change happens, I usually am like, it's kind of stupid, that kind of sucks. Here I'm like, I like those characters. I thought they were both good in the movie. If we can put them in the comic books and do something meaningful with them, I'm all for it. You know, the Valiant universe is small enough that you can bring people from the movie in. It's not going to feel overcrowded. So I'm totally cool with it. Let's see what they do with Project Rising Spirit. Are they going to explain, like, is there no more Project Omen then? Are they two different organizations? I guess we'll just see.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of loose ends there to clean up too. I mean, Rampage is still running around somewhere. So whoever gets Bloodshot, there's lots of tools left out there to be played with. So I think that's really cool. You know, I'm curious if this direction was kind of, you know, obviously pushed editorial, and it wasn't what Tim Seeley was talking about, you know, a year and a half ago when we talked to him when Bloodshot was starting, and he said he had 2 years worth. Is this a push direction in a different way that we didn't quite see, or he didn't see coming, that had to kind of be adjusted? But I think it is cool to get back into some of the original, you know, continuity. Hopefully, I hope it's told in a way that makes sense and it works. And we are getting Wiggins, we are getting KT, and hopefully we get to see some more of all of that. You know, I think this is the outside of the free issue, Free Comic Book Day. This is the first on scene of Wiggins being talked about, and he was a fun character, and I hope we keep that wittiness in the comics somehow, and that carries over.
Yeah, I think that it's really cool. Like, one thing that I've really been curious about is how they're going to introduce Wiggins and KT. And yeah, Tibbs was a great character too. I totally agree with that. I was really curious how they were going to introduce him, and if they've already been working together, Wiggins and KT, and then we get them coming in because Wiggins has hacked into Bloodshot's nanites. That's awesome. And that also tells you, like, how many hackers are out there in the world and how many times have people hacked into Bloodshot's nanites? Not very many times. So that sets Wiggins apart as being a total badass behind a keyboard, right? Like, I mean, the guy can do stuff that very few people in the entire world would be able to pull off. And we're seeing that immediately as he's introduced. You know, it's not going to take us a long time to get to a point where we feel comfortable in him being you know, a very intelligent character. It's not going to take a while to show that. They're boom right off the bat showing that.
Yeah. Idea time.
Uh-oh.
The last ride we had Lulu, who was doing Spylock, who's basically the new Spylock, right?
Yeah, not Psylocke, as some idiot said.
Yeah. Psylocke, yeah. The S is silent. Or P is, I don't know. Anyway, but have some Spylock there, and and then we could look at having Axe, Wiggins, like have a battle between those dudes as hackers, and then have Livewire show up in the middle of that.
Oh my god.
It could be some fun to be had there with those characters and they're what they do. So I'm sure there has to be a thing within continuity where Wiggins and Axe meet up and there's some crap. So that'd be fun.
Oh, Scott's saying he hopes there's the comic version of Tibbs. And as much as I agree, I don't think it's going to happen, bro. Unfortunately. As a guy I know would say, unfort. So I don't think we're going to get that. But it's a cool idea, and it would be cool if it happened. But I'm really excited with what we are getting. Honestly, knowing that Wiggins and KT are coming into the books, it just makes me want to go watch the movie again.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
But yeah, I mean, obviously it's cool to look forward to what's coming next in what's it called? One Last Shot.
Yeah.
That's going to be cool to see how that plays out. But yeah, talking about this issue that we got, number 9, I was thinking about it, and it's really hard for me to know exactly where I want to score this book. As you guys know, I score Bloodshot books really high, and so I'm trying to compensate for that and like not overhype it. And I don't think that this was the best issue in Seeley's Bloodshot run. I think that some of the earlier issues were a little bit better, you know, so I don't want to score this as though it was the best thing that's ever come out. So I'm going to give it a 4. I think a 4 out of 5 is a solid score. It still means it's a great book and definitely something that I would recommend to people. You know, if somebody wants to know who Bloodshot is, what he's about, I think you could totally say, read the Tim Seeley run and you're going to be on board. You know, if you like action, if you like badassery and guns and explosions and monsters, this is going to be the book for you.
I'm going to go about a 3.5 on this one. I think it's a good story, but like it wasn't great. I like the fact that we did take Bloodshot out of his like normal surrounding and dealing with just like Black Ops people and fighting giant monsters instead, you know, which was really neat. But man, it was just a little bit confusing to me on some parts of it. But I don't know, it was a good storyline, you know. So yeah, 3.5, it's solid, man.
I agree. It was a pretty solid book all the way around. Like I said, it was just weird. Half the book you were wondering how the heck did he do that. And then it tells you at the end. So that was kind of nice.
They explain it to you like you're an idiot if you read it, you know.
Right. It is kind of, you know, I would say it was like villain mustache twirling. You know, I'm going to tell you my whole story, exactly how I did it. It's like, no, just choke the guy to death, Bloodshot. That's what you're about to do anyway. Like
he broke his neck. Why?
Yeah. But why do you need to like, okay, here's exactly how I did it. Haha, I got you. I don't know. Just kill the guy. That's kind of his MO. But it was still a fun book. And, but I think that's the lowest Eric's ever given a Bloodshot book. And a 4. I mean, most times it's always a 5 or 5.5.
There must be bigger fans somewhere. And you know what? I mean, we're all going to feel his energy pop up at any moment. We're all going to coalesce to him.
Right. But I'm gonna say like a 3.5 for me. Again, it's good to have a Bloodshot, good to have a Bloodshot on the books, and I want to see how this Rising Spirit plays out and see what we have the next arc, the next 3 issues, and then we're without Bloodshot, and we're waiting because Harbinger's not till middle of summer.
Yeah. I think EXO is going to come back in March, and what that means is that we've got. Now I'm struggling to remember what's coming out in December.
Well, come on, man. There's only like $2 from now until forever. It should be pretty easy to keep track of, right?
I know, you would think. But I hope that we get new number 1s in January and February. That's my, fingers crossed, hope is that we get.
I love that Sean said exactly what I said. Sorry. Yeah. Good job, Sean.
No, I get what you guys are saying about Bloodshot monologuing what happened. I think it makes sense. I didn't think that was weird. Personally, it didn't jump out to me as a weird moment. I felt like it made sense for because Nyx took over Bloodshot, and Nyx did exactly what he was trying to, supposedly helping Bloodshot to stop from ever happening again. And so I feel like Bloodshot needed to have that kind of jab at the end, look how I outsmarted you, So that's why it made sense to me. But
couldn't that have worked with haha, you thought I was dead, crack?
No. He needed the satisfaction of being I fucking got you, and here's how I did it.
You know what? He could have done better. He could have just gave him the middle finger and then just killed him.
and then he could have just you could have heard it, him narrate it, saying this guy's a fucking idiot. He doesn't deserve to know anymore.
Or he could have just started eating him because he needs protein.
That's true. He does need protein. I'm curious why we don't see Bloodshot do that more often. Just start eating the people he kills.
Yes. Why? Hell yes. Okay. That's the edge they need to take him to. Cannibalistic, nanite infused killing machine.
I hope if we get a Vin Diesel Bloodshot number 2, we see him cannibalize somebody.
Just rip someone's arm off and just start gnawing on it.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Down. Yeah, Scott's saying The Visitor. We got to get The Visitor eventually. I'm sure that's going to be coming next year. But hopefully in January and February we get new number 1s. March, I think we're going to get EXO coming back. And then, it just depends on from there, because what number 1s are supposed to be coming still. Final Witness.
Shadowman, Final Witness.
Shadowman, Savage.
They spoke a little bit about Archer and Armstrong, but that hasn't necessarily been full released. I remember Matthew saying, I've seen things, I can't really say much, though. Yeah.
But you know what? Here's the thing, man. And I want to say this one again. If nothing else, I would love it if this happened. If they're keeping things small now, and we know there's a bunch of books that they can put out, next year could be a great time just to do a big fucking launch of everything, and make it grand and be like, hey, look, we're gonna throw everything out there and just see what works. It would be great to see all the big guns again next year. Put out in books.
But next time, don't call it the Year of Heroes, because I think they spoiled the year.
Yeah, well, it's not like it was their fault that the entire planet shut down in March.
Yes, it is.
Blame Valiant for their marketing campaign.
The Year of Heroes, the Year of Heroes that could have been. So
yeah, but that was though too. I mean, we can't blame them.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I just want things to come back full force as soon as possible. And in my mind, the way that makes sense to do that is what Valiant has done in the past, which is to put out a new #1 every month and build the lineup that way. And I think that would be a really good idea as we get into 2021. The world is kind of starting to a little bit get back to normal, hopefully. You know, and yeah, I would just love to see more books on the shelves and yeah, the big guns, the big Valiant names coming back, Shadow Man and the Harbinger, you know, Pete Stanchak. I want to see Final Witness come out. Obviously, Exo Manowar needs to be on the shelves. You know, I mean, there's just so many awesome books that have been announced that we want to read. We want to read them.
And I hope, and you know what, one thing I hope, and this is kind of minor, but I hope people don't forget about The Witness. That when or the Visitor, when it finally comes out, I hope people are still there waiting to read it. You know, because that book's been on hiatus. We're waiting for issues 5 and 6.
It has to have a reveal at the end. That has to be the only reason they could have not let it out with only a book or 2 left.
But it has to come out, is my point.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like if Valiant doesn't put that out, that's a huge fail, you know? And that's not an acceptable thing to do, you know? You got to finish your work. So I hope they put out those 2 issues.
Yeah, it's not good for the fans, too, that did get the first 3 issues to not have it seen through. So
yeah. Because, I mean, that's just going to destroy a lot of faith, you know? If people you can't finish the miniseries, you know, I just don't know how I'm going to feel about everything else you put out there, you know? So just don't wait too long on that. That's my only thought.
Makes sense.
Agreed.
Well, I think we got a good issue of Bloodshot. I'm stoked to see where the last arc of Tim Seeley's run goes, and you know, seeing these characters on the page that we got on the screen. And I'm really excited to see the new shit. You know, whether that's Savage or Ninjak or Shadow Man or the Harbinger. You know, I want new stuff.
Maybe the new shit could be their new like marketing slogan for 2021. Valiant new shit.
Sorted. Done.
The new shit.
The new shit.
The new old shit. The dump.
Well, how is it I never got a job in marketing?
Well,
a lot of reasons. A lot of things that kept me out of the good schools. You know.
Well, I think we got Rye in a couple weeks or next week or something. Getting closer to the end of Rye, and EXO coming out on Thanksgiving. So there will be more eventually. I think we get a month off of Bloodshot too, though. No Bloodshot in November, just a Rye in November.
Oh man, that's the only book. Wait, never mind.
Rye and EXO in November. Yeah. So be ready for rationing. Be rationing your comics well, guys. Just a couple pages a day, I guess, just to ration yourself. So we'll be here to spoil it, right, Eric?
You best believe.
That's right. It's all going to be fun.
No, I'm stoked to see what comes next. I think Rye's been one of the best books on the shelves for a while now, so really excited to see where that continues to go and what the next arc of Bloodshot brings, and hopefully we start getting more books soon. But I want to say thanks to obviously Sean and Scott hanging out in the chat with us, and anybody else watching or listening live or after the fact, we definitely appreciate you. Hopefully you like the content. Feel free to throw a like on the video, subscribe, hit that bell so you get notified when we go live and you can join in the conversation. We always try to make sure that we're having interesting conversations about the stuff that Valiant's doing. And every time we have the opportunity, we try to, bring content, including creators from Valiant. We've talked with Dan Abnett and Alejandro Arbona and, staff from Valiant itself. And, hopefully we continue getting those opportunities and, people stop by to add their voices to the conversation, get their questions answered. And we'll see all of you guys next time. Signing off, I am Eric Baumgard.
I'm Josh Rathbun.
And I'm Hoosier.
And you guys all stay valiant.